I'm Jack Robinson from Margaret River, Western Australia.
Hi, I'm Coco Ho from the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii.
I'm Iago Dora from Brazil, Florianopolis.
I'm Moana Jones from the North Shore of Oahu.
I'm Balaram Stack from New York. Definitely good to meet you guys.
Thanks for having us. I'm Colin.
And I'm Jay.
And we're Coral Morphologic from Miami, Florida. Coral Morphologic exists to turn people on to corals and why they're important by captivating them with their psychedelic beauty.
Yeah, we do this by growing coral in our home lab. Then Colin photographs them under blue wavelength light to activate the coral's natural fluorescence. Once he's done that, I record a soundtrack set to the imagery.
Coral is incredibly important to the oceanic ecosystem and our global health in general. They're really kind of like the canary in the coal mine for the rest of the planet. So if we've got happy coral, we can all live a little bit better on a planet more sustainably.
I feel like a lot of the corals are sort of dying as well in West Coast. Like you don't see it as much. It doesn't look as alive.
Yeah, everything's changing so fast right now. You can go to a reef 1 year and then you can come back 5 years and it looks totally different. And that's always really a huge bummer.
How does the ocean affect the growth of the corals for the future?
The issue is that CO2 is a greenhouse gas that traps heat from the sun, that warms up the ocean, that causes the corals to bleach and they die. And that's probably the more significant driver of coral death around the planet. The only way that corals are able to reproduce is basically they have an internal clock that's synchronized with the sun and the moon, and they all spawn at the exact same time a few nights after the summer full moon because they're basically watching the moon the entire year and they're like tracking the length of the day and the angle of the sun and the water temperature. And these are all things that, like, as surfers, as divers, are all things that we're also paying close attention to.
What about the differences between like the soft coral and like the hard coral?
Yeah, there's all different types of coral. When we say coral, like we're probably our brain automatically kind of goes towards like the staghorn branching corals, the brain corals that like create big coral heads. Those are the ones that are actually building the coral reef. They have a limestone skeleton. And then when they die, other corals just start growing on top of them and they just keep building up, and that's how they build the reef. But then, you also have soft corals, and you've got sponges, and you've got sea anemones, and you've got, all kinds of like other invertebrates that are kind of all colonizing what the stony corals first start building.
What is the name of this coral?
Okay, yes, that's actually a sea anemone. That's a flower anemone.
I love those ones. They're like so squishy.
Mm-hmm. What about the different colors? Are these like different species? Like each species has a different color, or
those are the same species of sea anemone from the sweatshirt. They're all just different color morphs. People call them rock flower anemones. They come in like all kinds of different colors and patterns. And that's like one of the things that we also like about the corals. Like within a certain species, you have all these different morphs. So that's like Coral Morphologic references the fact that it's like they can come in all different colors and shapes, and that's really not so different than humans, right? Like we have different morphs too. We're all the same species, and that's something like we try to highlight, just like this diversity of form. And humans and corals are not so different. There's so many similarities of like how is a city kind of like a coral reef, and like coral reefs are just really, really biologically diverse environments. Our goal with Coral Morphologic is to form a human coral symbiosis, thinking about the ocean as like this connective tissue that bridges all of the land between us and all different continents and cultures, because we're like all in the same fishbowl together.